And we're back. We're back. We're back. We're back. The second and last panel of ICE 2024. I hope you're all there with me. Get back into your chairs. Stop talking to your loved ones and your dogs and your cup of tea. Hi, Maria.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Or good
Maria,
morning, depending where you are.
well, exactly, right? Maria, very, very quickly. Hi, Rodrigo.
Hello.
Hi, hi, hi. And Matt, this is our panel. That's a fine-looking panel, if I may say. Boys, I'm just going to ignore you for 2 seconds. Maria, you work at Planet X, and your boss, Dennis, said that you're the smartest of the two
Oh,
of you. Direct quote.
he has to
Um,
say
I
that.
I mean, really, he really does. But I missed a question from one of the audience. Graciela asked, I'm throwing you deep into the deep end here. For scanning an underground set, such as a metro station, is the process the same minus the drones? I know there are good underground scanners, but I'm not sure what level of detail they work, or are the costs too prohibitive? Can you answer any of that?
I think Dennis is online, so maybe he can jump in.
I love
Yeah.
this project.
Yeah, I am still online. Well, although Maria is absolutely brilliant, I was referring to another of my
Oh,
colleagues, Renee,
okay.
who is like a technical wizard. But the process will more or less be the same. But indeed, you don't need the drones because you also don't need to go that high. So you can more or less manage probably with lidar and photogrammetry
Okay,
for
get
the
back to
for
your
the metro
chopsticks.
station.
What are you
Yeah, I
eating?
will.
We're all jealous.
I'm at the moment I'm eating sushi actually, which I
Okay,
ordered
I'm
earlier.
coming to work at Project X. Standing desks and sushi. Okay, go, go,
Excellent,
go.
absolutely,
Enjoy.
absolutely.
Enjoy. All right, Maria, what do you do? What is your role at Planet X, please?
So I'm a BFX consultant, and currently I'm working for Planet X as head of production strategy. So that sounds fancy, and basically is my job is basically a strategize with regards to bidding. So I bid the shows, but at the same time making sure that we're crew up correctly, that we have the right people for the right shows because every show is different and needs different types of skills, and as well as doing the whole client management. So that's basically what I do.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So, and of course, Rodrigo, we met you yesterday. Thank you for joining us again. I think you're in London, so I think the beach is a little bit of a stretch, but it's okay. Let's let's. We've got to dress how we want to, who we want to be in
Yeah,
the
because
world.
the weather is start to change in UK. That's why I changed for the beach because I'm Brazilian and I'm missing a lot in the sun, and I
I
prefer
can
to put
imagine.
this kind of background. Yeah.
Oh, think it and it'll happen. Okay, and of course we all know Matt by now, Urban and the brains behind ICE. So I'm going to throw this. I'm gonna start directing the questions, but of course our lovely audience are more than welcome to throw other questions at us, and just feel free when you want to grab a question. But I'm going to start here. Maria, what to you is creativity?
Ooh, that is very interesting. So for me, creativity is everything that involves original ideas, expressions, or solutions based on imagination, experience, emotion, culture, personal insights. For me, everyone is creative. Nevertheless, not everyone is a creative. So I want to give that example because I'm a producer. So I see our job and our industry in different eyes as how I see it, Matthias or Rodrigo or you or Dennis, for example. So for instance, me, I consider myself working in a creative industry. I consider myself a creative person, but I don't consider myself a creative. For me, a creative is someone that develops what it imagines, the ideas that comes up with, and materialize it. So that's for me what creativity is and the difference between creativity and a creative.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And I want our audience to hold this word. I'm going to take one of the words that I caught on, particularly from what you said, original ideas, right? So, Matthias, what in a sentence to you is ethical Gen AI?
So for me, ethical generative AI is something that is kind of the approach to automate, let's say, something that encapsulates grunt work that technically nobody likes to do, but makes creatives also aware, or let's say, gives them a feeling of safety, that they still stay relevant, and that they can trust, let's say, the governments, the political entities, and big tech to protect them from, let's say, certain dangers, and give them peace of mind that we can go into a better future, or into a good future, where we remove the stuff that we all think is bad, and we concentrate on the stuff that is good. And there is a fine line, but I think it has to go back to the kind of where this original is coming from, to the human condition, and how we see each other as human beings.
It was like strangely poetic when talking about AI. I love that. Thank you for that. Rodrigo, in your field, are you professionally worried? Do you have a sense of anxiety around generative AI affecting your life, your work, your future?
Yeah, we can start the war now, and yeah, because I don't have any afraid about the AI. Yeah, I believe that I can use the word for Antonio Lavoisier. So nothing is created, everything is copied. So always someone start from something. Yeah, you can use it for reference, one image, and you create based. For sure, if you copy exact image, you are copying. Yeah, it's pirated. But if you are using some source to create your own image or your own project, I don't have any problem with that. So I don't think it will replace. I think they will replace certain jobs like before. So always the work is changed. Because, for example, my mother work in different way that we're working now. My children will work in the future will be different. So now we have different softwares. When I have a degree in architecture, for example, everything that I create is by hand. After that, I use AutoCAD. After Revit, when I started using Revit, is everything was more automatically. My teacher, no, you're not allowed to use it because you are replacing people who are drawing by hand. Yeah. So now impossible to do something by hand because we don't have time to do it. Yeah. I still produce my environments, my projects, but it's just impossible to show for my clients, okay, I will deliver this kind of papers for you. Your movie will be just piece of paper. Now you use huge LED wall to create the environment. So we are replacing the real world here using LED wall. Yeah. So for me, I don't have any problem. Always we are changing.
And Maria, did you have anything you wanted to add on ethical Gen AI?
Yeah, I think it is important to actually add the definition that the United Nations gave on what is ethical AI, because the United Nations has a framework and that's called AI for Good. So they define ethical AI, everything that is fairness, accessible, the democratization of it, that is explainable, that is the robustness of it, so meaning that it's not hackable, that is intellectual property and data privacy protected, that has transparency and, of course, sustainability. So all those elements, all those pillars is what it makes the word ethical on a general scale. So those are the requirements that needs to be fulfilled for something to actually be considered ethical. Now, are we there yet? In my opinion, no. And we can debate about this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna direct the further questions to anyone. You just raise your hand, but it does feel a little bit like, to me, kind of a PR exercise, a bit of a branding exercise, and just kind of the horse has bolted. Now we're just trying to close the doors. I mean, Matt, how can artists protect their work, or can they at all?
It's a brilliant question. So technically, purely technically, yes, you can. You can basically make a picture, or basically as an artist, you have to express yourself. You have to put your work out there for people to see it, to consume the art. So technically, you can say, okay, this is my picture, and I'm taking a big like red cross, and I'm just like making it unusable, let's say for training, or just the other pixels. But in general, how can you protect yourself? It is one of those issues, right? And what I would say fundamentally the thing is that it's not per se generative AI has to, let's say, absolutely fundamentally be or can be just purely, let's say, ethical. And a generative AI, once you have it, it can be ethical, or it can be used in ethical context. But I believe the elephant in the room is the data sourcing. All right, and there are no rules, there are no political entities that that are fast enough, and it's a race at the moment, and there are no rules out there, right? I mean, I'm following this field also very, very closely, and like it's what's so let's say fundamentally frustrating is that, especially, and I'm just gonna say it very directly to kind of the big companies out there, right? There's a lot of blah blah, but in the end, a lot of the very large tech companies are getting caught, maybe not necessarily consciously telling people or telling their, let's say, their engineering teams to actually go and source certain types of data, and but all of the big companies pretty much get caught doing it. And again, this may not be consciously be done as basically mandated as let's do this together, right? And let's not try to be caught. But there are still always a couple of black sheep that say, well, I don't care, let's do it, it will give us an edge. And again, this boils down to the human condition of that. We all know basic psychology. The statistics say 1% of people are, or across the globe, across cultures, are psychopaths, and 4% of people are sociopaths. Let's say by a general definition. These fields are also not yet kind of fully developed, right? But nevertheless, I think it should be, at least in the honest communication of big tech, that they at least address this, in the sense of, yeah, sorry, there's so much money to be made, and we're not just good because we cannot control humanity and all of our staff. But we are trying at least to implement protocols to prevent certain things. Like, I mean, there should be just one company that can create like proper, or maybe 3 or 4 or 5 companies should be able to do generative AI videos. That should be Google with YouTube, and maybe a few film distributors that have the full legal rights to tons of movies. Like we've just recently seen the deal between Runway and Lionsgate, the film studio, right? So there should be just very few, but it's tough. It's really tough, right?
It's super tough, and you're the founder of ICE, which is why we're asking you the hard questions. No, we don't have the questions, but we are just asking all of these things. So please keep adding your thoughts and your questions into the chat. Open to all of you. Should creatives feel bad, therefore, from what we've said? Should they feel bad for using AI in their work? Edwin does not like that. Edwin, I've never seen you doing a thumbs down. This is terrible. Oh no. What do you think? Rodrigo? Have you used AI yet?
Yeah, in my company, for example, I received some AI images to create. Yeah, it's funny because it is one image created by AI, but you are not allowed to publish this AI image in social media. So, I don't know why, because they creating based in copying a lot of image from other people, and now you're not allowed to use it to publish because it's having copyright. I don't know how this works because there is no copyright because you copy someone and you are publishing the internet. So it's funny. Sometimes they create in their minds new rules. Yeah, there's no paper saying okay you're not allowed to do it. People are creating their own rules. Yeah. So when people start using AI in publishing in ArtStation, there's a big fight in ArtStation. People start, oh no AI, stop AI. And I think the big problem is there because people are putting AI images, but they are putting like I'm modeling everything and I render in real Engine, but it's not true. That's the big problem because it's a lie. Yeah. So in this case, I don't agree. But if you can create your image for reference to create your video or storyboard, it doesn't matter. I think I don't feel any problem with that.
Are there
Can I jump?
Yes, please, Maria.
I think there has to be a bigger discussion about intellectual property protection, which is something that is missing on those generated images or 3D models that is done, in the sense that database is based on people's work, and therefore those people's work is copyrighted. So people has the right to say like it was based on this. Therefore, you cannot commercialize and make profit out of it. So there is something that is called an intellectual property fair usage. But if you are utilizing that image for your own gain, and that image is based on someone else's work, you are already deleting that profit that other person has done, for instance. So that's why you cannot publish stuff in social media without getting into legal battles. And then there is a lot of companies, like, for example, Shutterstock or Adobe, that are already taking that legality in their terms and conditions and saying that if you produce by using their software, they are support, like they're saying that what you're using is being compensated to the artists with the license to them because they have one of the biggest database, which I can develop a little bit further on this. But they have certain regulations about you utilizing by a fee the images that you are producing. Now, this fee is going to that company. How that fee is distributed to the artists that contributed to that database is a little bit different. In my opinion, and please everyone keep in mind, I'm a producer, so I see things in money and time. So I do believe that people should embrace the technology because there is two discussions, the technology and the social implications around that technology. The technology around allows everyone to develop certain tedious task. Like for instance, like right now, what Shutterstock is doing with NVIDIA is trying to, for example, allow that with Gen AI, UV mapping becomes something that you forget about, and you start actually having a model that is already UV map or like in 2 clicks, which if you talk with 3D artists, that is a very tedious work to do, that it takes around a day. Me as a producer, oh my God, I'm in love. Like 1 click and you already did this, and then we can move to texturing and then move into shading. Like that makes my workflow faster. That I already have involved the artist, which is what I just want to emphasize, that is utilizing the tool of AI to help you with your task without deleting you as the person that operates that. So what I don't want to see is producers coming up and then prompting and creating assets or creating images and saying like, okay, tata, now I am the creative. Because that is not, like, you're not the creative. You don't have the years of experience, the training in order for you to actually model and understand the whole pipeline that takes to do that. What you can do is actually utilize the technology that you have in order to make your work more efficient. And I always mention this to my friends in the sense that years ago, and I feel old, there was a program called Photoshop that everyone was talking about how that was going to kill the matte painting industry. So, oh my God, this is the worst tool ever. And everyone was discussing about how these jobs were going to be deleted. But because back at the time, if people remembers it, and if no, please watch Light and Magic in Disney, on the story of Industrial Light and Magic, how they did Star Wars. But before that, the backgrounds were painted, actually paints. And that like the matte painters are actually building like humongous walls and painting on them. And when this technology came, people were saying like these people were going to lose their job. What happened is a lot of the people retrained themselves on how to use the program and then are now digital matte painters. What is important for me, and specifically for this conference, because it's 3D modeling, is to understand that also the technology is not there. And the reason is, and if you pay attention to a lot of the things that you see online, it's that a lot of the videos, if you pay very clear attention, the backgrounds are not moving. They're very linear. There's always like a static cameras. The reason behind it is because creating 3D mesh is really, really difficult. So mesh, for those that are not very technical, is the words that the CG people use to talk about like those polygons and what it makes actually the 3D model. So replicating that for an AI generator at the moment is not possible to predict, while pixels are very easy to copy and predict. So in order for you to have actually a real model at this particular moment, it's not possible. So what it does, this models, is creating the base so that the artist can utilize this and then move from that base model forward. So I would say do not feel bad to utilize the technology that you have if it makes your work easier. Like if you need to create a share and then you have the base of it, you can just utilize that, integrate it into your pipeline. That will make you more effective. And as a producer, I will love you because you're being fast, you're being efficient, you're cutting my cost, you're being team player. So it is just a way of how to see it and integrate it.
Yeah,
No, of course.
I do agree. Go ahead, Tavinia.
I was just saying, Edwin definitely agrees. He says it's okay if you use it in some parts of pre-production to improve and enhance what one person can do in production. I like that. And Matt?
Yeah. I mean, I still don't know all the answers, right? Because we're all in the same boat here, which is also cool because it ties us together, right? But yeah, I don't think that, let's say, going back in time, like Henry Ford said, if he had listened to what people wanted back then, when he invented the car, they would have said, I don't want a car, I want faster horses, right? So you don't know what you want to have if you have not seen it. So there's this looming unknown that again, us humans, the unknown is something that is scary, that is we don't want to embrace, obviously. But so in the sense of it should not be a problem. Going back to the car and the horse, it should not technically be a problem if you want to go faster to be punished for taking a car over taking the horse. So it should not be the choice of the tool. And what Rodrigo mentioned, and I fully agree, I agree with him. You cannot, or as an artist, you cannot post an image of AI online, but for multiple reasons that we have to separate. First of all, Maria mentioned the copyright. So that's like a society agreeing on what can, or how do we deal with this for now. So the common consensus is that you cannot copyright the image. That's one aspect. The second aspect is, and people usually cannot distinguish the different use cases or the different reasons. Then the second one is people are being scorned online because they are threatened by the technology that they don't understand. Nobody understands the technology, right? But then also there's this aspect of people just wanting to use something to remove the grunt work, to remove the boring things like auto UV and so on and so on. But the whole thing is this massive amalgamation of things that were on social media, people that with different, let's say, technical expertises project their opinion into it, and people are talking completely meaning different things and kind of bypass, or let's say not talking about the same thing while discussing the topic. But in general, I would also agree, it's not using AI. If it helps in medical imaging, it's been helping cancer treatment for the last 10, 15 years massively, much better than human beings can use it. So we're not going to stop using that, right? That's the good stuff. We want more of the yummy stuff. But what we want to control is, we want to feel protected what is the deepest, most vulnerable aspect of what makes us human, and that is the expression of self. Because if you try to automate this and you try to remove this from us and you try to put it into something that is not important, as like Mira Morati's statement of a couple of months ago, where she stated, well, if it's so easy to replace a couple of creative jobs because they made, or let's say, they showcased Zora, and she does not understand what it means for all of these hundreds of thousands of people to put themselves into the art, which is trained, or which is the foundation to train the AIs, and then just basically getting shit on by statements like this, by people like this that don't give a shit about what they mean, right? This is we have to get emotional to basically push back and say, art, music, dancing, all of these things, all the senses are what makes us human. If you try to push this into a product and say, here's the product, buy it for $12.99 per month, this is what doesn't work. It doesn't work with art, right? It works with automation of stuff that we don't like to do, but yeah.
Oh, more of the yummy stuff. Matt, you're
Yes.
all in your feels. That's exactly what it is, right? Look, everyone's like, yay! Where's the emoji for a standing ovation? Honestly, guys, but that's the thing, right? It's the next frontier. It is coming. No one's going to do anything about it. We can talk till we're blue in the face. Maria is going to use it because it helps her bottom line, and Rodrigo is going to use it because it helps him sleep at night and cut down on his workflow. And I think we need a panel discussion, not a panel discussion, we need a presentation. I want ICE 2025 to at least have one presentation on like AI use, or someone who's using AI big time. Is that fair, Matt? Something to look forward to?
Oh, absolutely. It
Yeah.
just has to be communicated correctly.
Yeah.
I've seen that in the industry there were, let's say, presentations announced that showcase kind of some of those technologies, in the sense of, again, completely talking about different things. People meaning, we want to present an AI tool that actually helps you become more efficient and removing some of the groundwork. And if you're using those tools, you will become faster. And yeah, you can concentrate on making the story better because you have the tools now that make you faster. Yet, if the message is completely misinterpreted by different people, you're automatically getting a flame war, right? The one of the best, the absolute best examples was like 3 months or so ago by Adobe, where some of the marketing people basically made the following mishap. So it was basically about announcing or kind of advertising their stock footage, or their like Adobe stock, right? Now there they say basically, now you can use stock footage. We've had stock footage produced by photographers for 25 years. Lots of agencies use stock footage all the time. That's all good. But now we're starting to sell individual AI generated stock photos that each cost $80, like literally, right? And which is understandable, right? We can produce a lot more content, but technically it should also get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. The problem was that in the following example is, or in this example is, they said the marketing people brought in this slogan of skip the photo shoot. Completely just understandable in the sense of the context. Don't waste your time taking the pictures. You can take the technology as a tool and become more efficient. So you don't have to actually take the photographs yourself. You become faster. So skip the photo shoot, just use stock footage. That in itself is absolutely logic, but it's a mishap in communication, because then the photographers that were there, that see their photographs being sold and Firefly being trained on, and they say, yeah, but you guys are training the AI using our photographs. So you're basically stating that you don't need the photographers anymore that actually produced all of the stock footage in the first place to make Firefly possible, right? So there are these two perspectives that very often in all of the news outlets, in all the shitstorm that is out there, the perspectives are misaligned because people are like mushing things together that should technically be separated, and that needs a lot of time and but sometimes also technical understanding to be able to separate those pieces, but it's pretty much impossible to have on a public platform to have a dialogue about this topic, because usually it's not possible to to have everybody on the same level of understanding to have an informed dialogue about those things.
I mean, my job is to boil it down to very simplistic terms, right? In music, people have been sampling for decades, but the samplee is always referenced, right? So would it help if the AI creators kind of gave a nod to all of the creatives that have come before and said, yes, we may be using robots, etc., and all of this tech, but we know it came from you. It's very small, but at least it's a nod. It's a recognition. Would that help, Matt? Because I know you're feeling things.
Can I jump on this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ladies first.
I just wanted to say, like, AI doesn't come from one creator. AI
of course,
takes a humongous
but it
database.
Feels like they're not really.
It's not the same as sampling, because if you're sampling, you can 100% recognize from which that artist has been sampled of, which is copyrighted. So legally speaking, that person has the right for that, and then you also have to compensate for the using of that sample. So your revenues and your royalties have to also, from whatever music that I'm doing, has to also compensate to that songwriter or the person who I sampled that music from. From AI generation, which is the problem that we have in this creative industry, in the VFX, photographers, 3D modelers, is that the database takes millions and millions of samples, and then to generate one image is not only taking it from one creative, it's taking it from a lot of it and computing it in order to produce what you get from. So therefore, recognizing who has been the person which is based on, you will have a gazillion of people being put.
No. I didn't mean literally. I meant that it does feel, from Matt's passion and certainly from my industry in Kenya, where the largest billboard advertisements are now AI generated, and that has cost all of my actor friends, all of my makeup artist friends, all of my production friends jobs, which is their biggest paying job this year. And these are telecommunication billboards across the country. I think it does feel like a lot of creatives have just been like, okay, cool. In a world where we're not actually lauded, our work is not actually lauded, you guys are actually just throwing salt into the wound by not actually just saying, oh yeah, let's work together.
And what I wanted to add, though, just very quickly, is companies like Shutterstock and Adobe have or at least Shutterstock, like I cannot speak for Adobe, but on Shutterstock, because I research a lot about their partnership with NVIDIA and their compensation fund. So they have a humongous protocol about compensating the people that which, at least in TurboSquid, it's being used to feed to the AI program that they're having with NVIDIA. And therefore, they send monthly statements of X amount of money pay to the artists that had uploaded their 3D models to TurboSquid and had opted in to make their model to be used in Gen AI. So that is a company that is having that. The problematic that it has, regardless if the companies are saying we are paying artists, is about actually like the data sale per se. So not many people know this, or maybe everyone knows this, but Shutterstock sold for around 50 million 2 years ago to Apple, some of their stock, their database, so that they can build their own AI. They also enter on a 6-year contract partnership with OpenAI, and none of the artists have been communicated about this. So not only they are utilizing for certain things, but that data that you're selling to that other company, they're not being compensated for that because it's using a different software. So they're only protecting on the software that they have developed themselves. So the problematic comes from that transparency, people don't know where the data is being used, and therefore they cannot be recognized. And that's why I say that's why ethical AI doesn't exist at this moment. There is a framework that is being developed at the moment in the EU, but it is still in development, and unfortunately the technology is already here. So we are trying to catch framework wise, but already the databases have been created. I remember a Twitter from Adobe a year ago when people were asking Adobe about Firefly, because Matt mentioned about this. They said, oh yeah, we also have a compensation fund for all the artists that have been used. And then they ask, okay, what is their model system? And the answer is our Gen AI is in beta at the moment. We will let you guys know when we launch the product. And I'm like, aha, so you already used it. You already developed the tool. And then later you will figure out what it will be your model. So already like your files are already in the database. And if it is already in your database and you opting out, then my question is it already too late? If you just want your things to be removed, already the AI has been trained on. So already the information, it has it, and it already developed the algorithms further. So no longer your image is longer valid on the sense that it already has regenerated in multiple algorithms. So already your base can be 100% disregarded, but there is already a million variations of your work, which in intellectual property, variations of something are not considered infringements in copyright, which is another big discussion that exists on. So
which we do not have time for tonight. But Matt, I think because ICE is your baby, please closing. You get the closing statement for this panel.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. I fully agree. So the only companies, or let's say the only serious contenders that can produce proper generative AI technologies, to just state them very simply, all of them have had some major mishaps in past. Like all the news stories are, we trained on YouTube, we trained on Sketchfab, we trained on this and that, all of them, right? So, and then first of all, it's just a couple of companies that can just a few companies can do it per se, period. Second, if exactly the problem that Maria just mentioned, so you have the IP thing, right? So you take one machine learning model, let's say one AI, one generative AI model that was trained, let's assume illegally, just based on that. Now you just take that and say, okay, now we're going to train this one on that one, and there's a barrier, right? So it's absolutely impossible to prove any of that stuff, and companies are getting smarter so that you cannot put any more into the prompt like, I want to have an action sequence that looks like Superman, and voila, you're getting actually literally one-to-one the scene from Superman. So kind of companies are getting smarter with that. So it's a lost, this is actually lost because it's impossible to go for that. And the other thing that you mentioned, Davina, from before, like mentioning the artist doesn't help. If we want to go into a sustainable future where because of the technical reasons we just discussed, that it's not possible to stop it, the only way to move forward to make it feasible is to have you could say very similar like in the casino, when there are regulations that say 90, let's say in Las Vegas, it's about 93-95% of the money that pours into a casino has to be paid out again, right? So with generative AI, it should be going basically in this direction. If we want as humankind to move forward into a future or not, we're building a pyramid that is like this, and at the top there's just the one winner, and that dominates everything, and we go into a dystopian future, then we have to find and enforce basically a monetization model that gives back to everybody, and not based on, or basically based on, not that just something that they produced was used, but kind of just as a kind of statistics wise. We produce so much, it was used on this and that many projects, I don't know, and then just distribute it and send a large portion back, basically. Because I don't see that. Let's say, for example, that OpenAI wins the lottery and develops something that is AGI, right? Now, let's say, and as they have stated, Sam Altman has stated, there could be 200 to 300 million people unemployed. Well, are they going to pay the taxes for those people that they made redundant? How's this going to work, right? So this stuff is the pure foundation of that we have to solve as a society, interculturally, all over the planet, independent of class systems and rich people, poor people. We're all in the same boat. So we have to find a system to move forward in this together, and just let the shit that happened in past, let it behind us, because it's gonna crash and burn otherwise. And I mean, there are scenarios like, take 100 million people, for example. If they are unemployed and bored because they cannot do a job anymore, well, then there's going to be torches and pitchforks, shitloads of them, right? And yeah, so it's not going to help just to mention, or like in the music industry with Spotify, there are like thousands and thousands and thousands of bands. What do they get? Like $50 per month. Like, it's mind blowing. Where are we going, right? It's absolutely mind blowing.
We cannot end day 2 ICE 2024 like that. Okay, I'm trying to. We've got to end with sunshine and hope. Man,
yes,
come on.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
So
no.
We're going to. I'm going to take over because you guys are just like we're all screwed and it's all over. Okay, we cannot end day 2 like that. I'm going to borrow Mike's comment. Mike has messaged and said, AI should follow the rule, do no harm. What we need to learn is the definition of harm. So thank you, Mike. I'm gonna steal that, and I am gonna reference you, and it's all gonna be okay in the end, because what makes art is humans and the human condition and the human expression and existence, right? We forget about schedules and bottom lines, even though that is what, we have to pay our rent. But Matt, I'm going to say goodbye to our 2 panelists. Thank you very much, Rodrigo. Thank you, Maria. And thank you for spending the evening with us. And to our listeners, our audience, thank you so much for tuning in to day 2